Due to the outbreak of COVID-19, the Business Bounce Back Loan was launched by the Chancellor Rishi Sunak, and applications for the loan have now been extended to the 31st of January 2021. If you have not already done so, please click on the card above to watch part 1 of our Business Bounce Back Loan series. In this video, we will cover what if I don't pay back the Business Bounce Back Loan, what if I close my company before I pay the Business Bounce Back Loan, what if I genuinely cannot pay back the Business Bounce Back Loan, and what happens if I spend the money personally. Before we get into today's video, be sure to hit that subscribe button as well as the notification bell to make sure you're kept up to date with all our latest content. This really helps us to produce more helpful videos and to get you free quality advice from real qualified accountants. Additionally, we want to express that this video is a professional view of us here at the Accounting and Tax Academy in accordance with the general terms and guidance of the Bounce Back Loan Scheme and our professional knowledge and experience in dealing with similar situations. Because the scheme is fairly new and government-backed, there are no real precedents to follow as to how the relevant bodies will actually deal with the following scenarios in reality. Now, we're going to interpret the word don't in the context that there is little or no intent to pay back the bounce back loan, both in terms of the interest and principal, or just one or the other. Where the loan cannot be paid back is dealt with later on in this video. The first and perhaps obvious point of clarity here is that this is a loan and not a gift. It has to be repaid in accordance with the terms and conditions of the loan agreement you will have signed. Simply not paying back the loan is not really an option. If you don't make repayments when they fall due, then it is highly probable your lender will pursue your business for repayments or worse still, further legal action. Burying your head in the sand or ignoring demands is likely to land you in even more chaos, stress, and ramped up pressure from your lender. So let's look at an example here. Your company took out a bounce back loan of £50,000 on the 1st of June 2020 on a 6-year term. By the 31st of May 2021, the 12-month business interruption interest-free period will have elapsed. So you decide your company is no longer viable and want to close it down. Now remember that the loan lender is a creditor, and quite simply you cannot close your company down in a solvent liquidation until all creditors have been satisfactorily paid or they have formally agreed to write off the debt. A solvent company dissolution is a process, and part of that process is that creditors are given the opportunity to come forward and oppose the solvent liquidation if their debt has not been paid or satisfactorily dealt with. Simply filling out a DSO1 form to Companies House to strike off your company will not cut the mustard, unfortunately. If this is the case, then we strongly suggest you approach your lender as soon as possible and discuss matters with them. A proactive approach will be looked upon favourably, and they will probably have protocols and a support team to help and cooperate with you. If you try to ignore the issue or bury your head in the sand, then this will probably lead to more chaos, stress, and no doubt adverse outcomes for you. The good news is that the Chancellor announced new pay-as-you-grow measures for borrowers who have access to bounce back loan and to help those who may be struggling. The measures will provide borrowers with the option to extend the length of the loan from 6 years to 10, make interest-only payments for 6 months with the option to use this up to 3 times throughout the loan. Once 6 payments have been made, request a 6-month repayment holiday. Businesses will be able to use these options either individually or in combination with each other, as well as having the option to fully repay their loan early and will face no early repayment charges for doing so. And these will be standardized options available to all borrowers, not just those who are struggling. And don't forget, lenders are not permitted to require personal guarantees for the bounce back loan scheme. For sole traders or small partnerships who often risk their personal assets when borrowing, the terms of the bounce back loan scheme means no recovery action can be taken over a principal private residence or a primary personal vehicle. However, other personal assets could be at risk. The main aim of Pay As You Grow is to allow your business enough time to recover and grow revenues and profit so it can start to pay down the loan. In the worst case scenario, if you have exhausted all attempts to recover your business or generate sufficient revenue and profits, then we strongly suggest you speak to your lender at the earliest junction. Now, this is a very common question, and in our professional view, we can provide some guidance. More than likely, you will have completed an application form and signed a loan agreement. One of the clauses in the agreement is most probably written as follows. We undertake to use the credit granted on the basis of this agreement only to provide economic benefit to our business. We also confirm that the bounce back loan will be used wholly for business purposes and not personal purposes. And this applies whether you are a company director, shareholder, or sole trader. So if you have or intend to use the money for, let's say, personal remuneration or drawings, that at the moment in itself is not an issue. There's no one standing over you or monitoring you and your business as such. The difficulty is likely to arise if your business struggles to generate sufficient revenues, profits, and cash flow, and perhaps forces you to call it a day and close down your company. As a result, if you subsequently are unable to repay the loan, whether in part or full, then your company could be classified as insolvent. In other words, it is unable to pay its debts as they become due and your company liabilities exceed its assets. An insolvent dissolution is a completely different animal to a solvent dissolution. With an insolvent dissolution, your conduct as a director will be brought into question, and if it is suspected you have wrongfully traded, fraudulently traded, or your conduct has been unfit, then you could be investigated and face disqualification from being a director for up to 15 years if found guilty. On a positive note, if you genuinely had to remunerate yourself reasonably to keep your business going, as you are no doubt a crucial part of your business, then in our professional opinion, this should not be cause for concern, so long as you can demonstrate how this action was necessary in an attempt to generate economic benefit to your business. We are pretty sure any lender, government agent, or liquidators recognize that in this pandemic, not all businesses will survive and perhaps even thrive. There will unfortunately be casualties. The acid test is the business owner's intent and conduct during this time. I hope this video has helped you think a little deeper about the business bounce back loan and taken you one step closer to knowing your numbers. As always, let me know in the comments your thoughts on today's video or if there are any other topics you'd like us to cover in the future. Finally, be sure to like and subscribe, and this really does help us to get our content out there. This is Tony Dangle for the Accounting and Tax Academy. Thanks for tuning in.